All right, let's get this lighting together here. Oh my God. Hey, hey, hey. Trying to get the lighting together. I closed the blind behind me, but that other blind is still kind of giving a glare. See if we can see. All right, that look better. Hey, y'all. We'll be getting started doing our grace period. I looked at my teeth already, and I don't have no lipstick. Yes, I did. I'm coming from the gym, running in to get ready to do the live. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for tuning in to see what we're talking about today. I greatly appreciate that. I am looking on my iPad to see if I'm up and running. Make sure everything is good before I get all the way in and don't pass out. So yeah, I think I'm looking pretty good here. What time is it? We got 1 more minute and then we will get started. Turn the sound down on here. No sound. I think we're good. Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. I know most of my audience watches on the replay, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in on the replay. I try to do it at 12:30, thinking that people can be on their lunch break and they can tune in while they're having lunch or put their earbuds in and listen to the prophetic strategies that we want to give you on Monday Marketplace Mantle. So if you're holding the mantle in the marketplace, or anybody that you know is holding the mantle in the marketplace, I want you to share this with them. I want you to tag a business bestie. If you're watching the replay, if you would please like and share, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you miss any of them, they are on our Academy page. So if you need that information, DM me and I'll send that to you, and you can go watch the 19 weeks before. So without any further ado, our 3-minute grace period is over. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to welcome you all to Monday Marketplace Mantle. This is where we come on every Monday for about 20 or 30 minutes to give you some tips and strategies on how to navigate in your marketplace, in your ministry, in your business to be sustainable and successful. So for you all that don't know, I am Teresa McCurry. I am the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires, and I'm also the co-founder of McCurry Ministries International, where my husband and I come together and we help people as it relates to discovery and startup with their ministry, their marriage, and their marketplace. And when you talk about that, I also throw in nonprofit, because I've been in that nonprofit area for quite some time. I've been on boards for nonprofit, and now I have my own nonprofit. And next year, we'll be going into our 10th year of existence. So I'm super excited about what God is doing during this time. So I'm going to jump right in and jump into our topic for today. Our 3 minutes is up. I gave you my formal introductory. We're here in the month of August, and the month of August, we are talking about building systems that support vision. Building systems that support vision. So if you have a vision, it's so important for you to build the system that will support the vision. I know I've given this analogy before in the past, and somebody who is a developer told me this. He said, if you're building a building and it's only going to be a ranch, you could just do a concrete slab to build a ranch home on. But if you're building a building and it's going to have 5 to 10 stories, then you got to go 5 to 10 feet deep to have a foundation that is strong enough to support the height of the building that you're planning on building. So same thing in business. So in business, if you're going to have a business that you want to be a sustainable business, something that's sustainable, you need to build the foundation that's deep enough to hold, that's deep enough to support what it is that you're building. So with that being said, our topic for this month is building systems that support the vision. And as you all know, I just jump on, give you 3 quick pointers, give you some practical tools tools on how to use them, and then I'm going to the next things that I have to do today. So today our focus is creating repeatable processes. Creating repeatable processes. I think this is part 2. I'm gonna just write part 2 down here because I think I kind of went over that before. But anyway, so the focus is building process that are simple, measurable, and able to function consistently without consistent intervention from the leader. So if I'm building something, I want to build something that's simple enough that the volunteers, the team members, the employees will be able to take that system and reproduce it so we can have the success that we need, but that system will also support the vision that we have moving forward. So the first thing to do is simplify before you systemize. Simplify. Hey, Sweetie Greg, thank you for tuning in. I see I got some other people on there, but I can't tell who they are. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and share. Please like and share. If you can hear me, put a heart so I can know that you're there and you hear me. I see that it's saying that I got 3 people on there, but I can't see who you guys are. Keeping it moving. So simplify. So we want to simplify the systems that we're using in our business. So simplify before you systemize. Simplify before you systemize. And what does that mean? That means that complicated processes repeat consistently is still a complicated process. Okay, so we want to make it simple. A complicated process repeated consistently is still a complicated process. So we don't want to have a complicated process because if somebody moves from that position, it will be difficult for the next person to repeat it. So we want to make sure that the systems that we're using are simple enough that they can be passed on to the next person so they can use that process. Before creating another system, ask what steps can be removed to simplify it. So if I have a complicated process, then I'm like, okay, what can we take out of this to make this process more simple that we can still get to the bottom line? Because that's the idea, get to the bottom line. So if I have a process in place and it's like, okay, it's got 20 steps to this process, how can we cut it down to 15 and still get the results that we're looking for? How can we take those 15 steps and cut it down to 10? And still get the results that we're looking for. If we can't, if we got to keep it at 20, let's keep it at 20 simple steps instead of 20 complicated steps. So that's what makes the difference. The best systems are not easily or necessarily sophisticated ones. They are the ones that the teams will actually use. So with that being said, especially now in the information age, we have all this technology out here, all these different apps out here, all these different things that you can use to make your life simple. But if I haven't taken the time to get the learning curve, to know how to use these apps, to know how to apply what it is that I'm doing to my business, then it's not going to be beneficial at all. So the best systems are not necessarily the most sophisticated systems. The best systems are the ones that your team will actually use. And give them the grace to go over a learning curve and be able to learn the system before you put it in place, before it's applicable. So with that being said, if you're in business, because I'm talking to business, I'm talking to ministry, and I'm talking to nonprofit. So I'm going to give y'all some tips no matter which one you're in to help you with that process. So with that, simplify the customer journey if you're in business. And what do I mean by that? Every business has a customer journey. How do you connect with them? How do you schedule them? How do they purchase? How do they receive the product and or the service? That's the customer journey. So we need to think the customer journey through so we don't have any bottlenecking and nobody is left out there without a response. So a lot of times, one of the systems that they have in place now is called chatbots. How many of you have been on the computer and you put something out there and then a reply came back instantly and it asked you a question, and then you put something back there and another reply came back instantly? Those are called chatbots. So with a chatbot, you it's already set up to keywords, to key phrases. So when I put that keyword in or I put that key phrase in, the AI, the artificial intelligence, is already programmed to respond to me as it relates to that keyword or that key phrase. place. So if that's something that your business can put into place, I think that would be very beneficial, because the day and the age of people returning calls to take care of individual situations, those days are kind of gone. You know, it's very refreshing when you can call a business or a corporation and actually talk to somebody. Like, oh my God, this is so refreshing. I'm actually talking to a human being. And now they have the AI so sophisticated that the AI that you're talking to, it does pausing. It'll be like, well, let me think about that. And then have y'all ever been on the call and the AI, it'd be like it's really typing something. I'm like, they just taking this AI to a whole nother level. So you want to simplify your customer journey if you're in business. And if you're in, hey, Deborah, love you, sweetie. If you're in ministry, you want to simplify how people can connect with you, how people can volunteer, how people can register for events and stuff like that. So if you're in ministry, you want to simplify those processes. And if you're in nonprofit, you want to simplify your volunteer registration. You want to simplify your donor communication and program enrollment. So those are different things that you can think about how you can simplify them. I came up with 3 things, and y'all know the 3 things. I like the whole 3 thing. So with the 3 things, remember we talked about start, stop, and continue. What can I start doing? What can I stop doing? What can I continue doing? So with that, I came up with stop, start, and simplify, because we're talking about simplifying before you systemize. So with that, the practical action step for simplify before you systemize is stop. What can I stop doing? So what in the system process we can eliminate altogether? Then start. What is missing that we can start? What is missing out of this process that we can stop doing, that we can start doing, that can make this process better? And then the last one is simplify. What can we make easier? So I want to stop, I want to start, and I want to simplify. So with simplifying before you systemize, ask yourself those 3 things. What can I stop doing? What can I start doing? And what can I simplify? So that completes point number 1. Oh, we doing good. We doing good. Point number 2. Create checkpoints and quality standards. Create checkpoints and quality standards. Because sometimes we can come up with a system and we put it all together and we're like, okay, let's run with it. And then we're just running with it and we haven't taken the time to find out, is this working? Are we getting the results that we're looking for? So with that, a process should not only tell people what to do, it should define what's done well. So I don't want to just tell you what to do. I want to tell you when you've done it well. And then checkpoints are places like where you can say, okay, once I did this happen? Checkpoints catch problems before they become bigger problems. So with checkpoints, you want to say, okay, after you do A, B, C, and then have a checkpoint. Was A, B, C completed properly? Okay, A, B, C was completed properly. This is a checkpoint. Now let's do E, F, G. So create checkpoints so you can go back. I think I told y'all the last time. My husband and I, we normally do this thing, and we call it, we want to inspect what we expect. We want to inspect what is going on. What are we expecting out of this process? What are we expecting out of you overseeing that? So if we don't come back and inspect, that means checkpoint. An inspection is just like a checkpoint. If we don't come back and do a checkpoint, then you can be all the way down the road, and that's not the direction that we wanted to be going in, right? You know, if you're traveling in your GPS, it says rerouting, and that's the cool part. You can always reroute and turn around and start all over. Excellence becomes repeatable when standards are clear. Excellence becomes repeatable when standards are clear. So if I'm putting these checkpoints in place and the standards are crystal clear, we can repeat them to get the same results as we move forward. But we can't do that without accountability. Accountability becomes easier when the expectations are clear and measurable. So what are the expectations? Are the expectations clear? And are the expectations measurable? Can I measure what's going on as it relates to this particular thing? I got some points for you guys. So if you're in business, don't say follow up with the client. Establish a standard. For an example, if a new client you receive an inquiry from a new client, define a timeline. So instead of just saying follow up with the client, how do I follow up with the client? First, I give them a call, I shoot them a text, I shoot them an email. After that, 24 hours, I do this, 48 hours, I do that. So don't just follow up. How do I follow up? And we want to make that clear. That's all part of creating checkpoints and standards as it relates to your systems. In ministry, don't just say follow up with the visitors. Define who follows up with the visitors, when they follow up with the visitors, how they follow up with the visitors, and what happens next. Because you have to, a lot of times, especially in ministry, you come, you visit a church, you want to have a visitor form for them to fill out. And then once they fill out the visitor form, if somebody is not calling them, somebody is shooting them an email. We used to have in our ministry when we were pastoring, I love being helping to equip leaders in this phase of my life. The pastoring was fun when we were doing it, but we've been there, we've done that. That what qualifies my husband and I to come on and give you these tips, these prophetic strategies, because we've been there and it was successful. So we didn't just be there, we was there and it was successful. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the visitor follow-up. So you want to have a visitor form for them to follow up. And then how do they follow up? And then when do they follow up? So you can say, once you get the visitor form on Sunday, once they leave, by Wednesday, somebody should give them a call, shoot them a text, or send them a postcard. Ask them, do they have prayer requests? And then how should that happen? And then what's the next steps? Invite them back. I find that you would think that people can just know you're welcome to come to visit our ministry at any time. But my husband showed me that through one of my cousins. My cousin knew that we were in ministry. He knew that we were pastoring the church. And he said, you should just invite him to church. I'm like, he know that we got church. If he want to come, he can come. If he need a ride, he can ask me. So I gave him a call. I was like, hey, cuz, I just wanted to invite you to church. He was like, oh, man, thank you so much. Yes, I want to come. And he started coming every Sunday since then. So you can't just assume. Sometimes it's the simple task of inviting the person. Just asking them, hey, would you like to come to church with me? Would you like to visit our church? You'll be surprised how many people are waiting for the ask. You just assume they know I go to church every Sunday. If they want to go, they can ask me. The burden is on you. Ask them. So make that a point. Like over the next month, over the next few weeks, make a list of at least 10 people you want to ask, you want to invite. Invite your neighbors. Invite your coworkers. You can even invite people that you meet at the grocery store. Because one thing that I've learned is sheep beget sheep. So it's not necessarily the pastor's responsibility to go out and gather the sheep, to bring people in to visit the church, to be a part of the congregation. It's the sheep's responsibility. Sheep beget sheep. So if you are a sheep and you're a part of a congregation, it is your responsibility to go out and invite other people to come and visit your church. It's just a simple ask. It's a simple ask. And you'll be surprised at how so many people are hungry and desperate and want to come. For a nonprofit, don't just say thank the donors. Establish a way to acknowledge them. How they're sent, when they're sent, who's sending them, and the interaction should be recorded. So with our organization, we do something where for MCS Fund, y'all know we help people financially. We help pay light bills, gas bills, rent, stuff like that. So when we're helping people financially, they have to fill out an application. So we're talking about simplifying the process. So in simplifying the process, it was a hard paper, fill-outable application. So we simplified that. We made it to a link. So now it's a link form. a Google Docs. So they can go on the Google Docs, they can fill out the application. They have to have approval from a social worker, a doctor, or a sickle cell organization that's referring them to us. So if you're being referred from a sickle cell organization, then you can get the funding. So you want to simplify the process. Hey, Pastor Mark, thank you for tuning in today. I'm on my last leg, but I appreciate you tuning in. Go back and watch the replay. Please like and share. And I appreciate the information that you put in the chat today. I'm not familiar with them chips, but let me stay focused. All right. So practical action, choose one reoccurring process and then establish 3 checkpoints. So if there's a reoccurring process that you have in your ministry, your business, or your marketplace, you want to choose 3 checkpoints. What must happen? By when? And how will you know it was completed correctly? Those are 3 checkpoints that you can create for what you currently have going on. So now let's jump into my last point, number 3. I got 9 minutes. Point number 3, review, improve, and update systems. So you want to review the current systems that you have in place. You want to come up with ways to improve upon those current systems that you have in place. And then you want to update the current systems that you have in place. Systems should not become sacred. They should become better. So you don't want to say, we did it like this for 25 years and we just going to keep on doing it like this, when there's a better way to do it. So you don't want to keep on doing things that are antiquated. Just think about if we were still having, what was it called? Blockbusters. Y'all remember Blockbusters? And you used to go and take your DVDs and betas. First it was the betas, then it went over to the DVDs, then it went over to the CDs, and now we have MP3s. So if we were to keep on, I'm just going to hold on to these betas. And when my parents died, I had some beta recording tapes, and I wish I would have transferred them over. They were home memories and stuff. I wound up throwing all those betas away because who had a beta player? How was I going to be able to get those home movies off of there? Somebody told me that there is a way, but I didn't know it at that time. I just knew that betas were non-existent. So systems can't be sacred. They can always become better. And as the technology improves, as your knowledge improves, you want to come up with better systems to help your ministry, your nonprofit, and your business to be efficient and effective. Because what worked when I had 10 clients is not working when I got 100 clients, right? And you know what? It's so funny. I'm going to just stay right here for a minute. That's happening right now with my husband and I. We have the fellowship. Within the fellowship, it's easy for him to pick up the phone, easy for me to pick up the phone. But the training, the equipping that needs to go forward, we had to come up with another platform for that. So now we have the academy. And we've been building out the academy for people that are a part of our fellowship. They can go on to the academy and get the training and the equipping that they need. And then as they go into the academy and get the training and the equipping that they need, then they can come back and talk to my husband and I and ask us questions. So right now, starting in September, we're having this leadership certification so we can have other leaders. Because as we grow, it's almost like Jeff Robe and Moses and his father-in-law said, you cannot continue to deal with all of these people all of the time. So that's a good problem to have, right? So if you have growing pains, you need to understand the way that I dealt with 10 clients, 10 members, 10 whatever. If I have 100, I'm gonna have to come up with a better system to be able to deal with them differently, right? Feedback from people using the system is valuable operational intelligence. So whoever is using the system, you want to get feedback from them because that's a valuable operational intelligence. Have y'all ever watched that show? I think it's called Undercover Boss. So an undercover boss, this boss be barking down all of this stuff. You need to have a customer come in and it need to be done in 3 minutes, right? And then it's having the employees anxious trying to get this customer taken care of in 3 minutes. And that was something coming down from corporate that didn't work on the front line. And the front line workers is saying, oh no, that's impossible. There's no way we're going to get this done in 3 minutes. So with that being said, you want to get feedback from the people that are actually doing the work. You want to get feedback from the people that you're actually servicing, because that's called operational intelligence. And with that operational intelligence, you can build systems that won't just be sustainable. They will be efficient, effective, and sustainable. We want to have all three of those in place. We want to have systems that are efficient, effective, and sustainable. So I got 5 more minutes and I'm about to close. So I'm going to jump down here. Okay. The practical application that I have for point number 3, review, improve, and update your systems. I said you want to write down the 3 R's. And if you haven't heard of the 3 R's, it can mean a lot of different things depending on what kind of work you do. But the 3 R's for this live today is review, refine, and repeat. The 3 R's. You want to put the 3 R's in place. You want to review, refine, and repeat. And what does that look like? Review is the system producing the intended results. So review it. See if this system that you have put in place, is it producing the intended results? You want to refine. What needs to be changed or simplified? That's simply refining the system. You don't have to throw the whole system away, but what in the system can I change? What in the system can I simplify? You want to repeat. Can we consistently use the improved process? So if I refine it, and then I want to repeat it and make sure that it's something that I can use, something that's going to help us as a ministry, as a business, or as a nonprofit be sustainable. So what I want to leave you with, choose one system this week and do 3 things to that one system. Simplify it, establish some checkpoints in it, and review the results. Whatever system you have going on, whether it's an accounting system, whether it's a employee system, whether it's a customer journey system. If you don't have any systems, my suggestion is to put them in place. So when I talk about systems, we already went over this in some of the earlier recordings. The best way to have a system is to have an SOP. SOP, standard operating procedures. So create your SOPs, and then this is saying go back and look at them. Simplify it, establish a checkpoint, review the results. So what one thing about this process makes your job harder that we can make it easier? So that's what you want to think about. The question uncovers operational. Okay, I'm trying to read my own writing. So the question, if you ask that, so what is the question? The question is, what is the one thing about this process that makes your job harder than it needs to be? So you want to ask whoever is working on this system, what is the one thing about this process that makes your job harder than it needs to be? Some people don't know. Some people you need to walk through them. Like, this makes it a little difficult here. We can eliminate that. Let's not do it twice. Let's not count the offering envelopes, and then after we count them, then go back and put the information in the computer. As we are logging it, let's log it directly into the computer, and that eliminate a system of writing it down. And then after we write it down, then put it in computer. Am I making sense? You want to do something to make the process simpler. Don't build systems that just to say you have a system. Build systems that make the vision easier to execute. So you don't want to build a system just to say, I don't want to have an SOP. My husband says this all the time. Did you go back and look at the SOP before you started this job? Did you go back and look at the SOP? What is the SOP? We have SOPs for each individual thing that we do. So like we just had this weekend, they had a friends and family cookout. So they created a SOP with all the different departments for the friends and family cookout. So each year before, I would say 90 to 120 days, before the event happens, go back, pull out that SOP, read over it, and make sure you're establishing your checkpoints to make sure we're all going in the right direction. So in closing, what I want to say, order should create clarity. Clarity should create consistency, and consistency should create capacity for growth. So if you all don't know, I am Teresa S. McCurry, the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires. And I'm also the co-founder of McCurry Ministries International. And I come on here every Monday at 12:30 to give you prophetic tips and strategies so we can carry the mantle of the marketplace. My time is up. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Be blessed, but most of all, be inspired. Please, please, please like and share, and I'll see you guys next Monday, 12:30. Bye-bye.